Okay, this is fossil fuels. Today, what we're going to do, I'm laughing right now because I forgot to hit record. And so I've already gone through all this with my class, but that's okay. So today what we're going to do is you're going to be able to explain why coal is a fossil fuel, and then you're going to describe how natural gas and petroleum is formed in the earth. Probably won't get to that today, but we'll give it a shot. So fossil fuels. So fossil fuels, basically, what are they? They are a natural resource. And we've talked about this before, but they came from the ground. And they come from the ground because they are the remains of living things. And so one of the things that happens is, as we have a lot of organisms that are in an area, they live and die and live and die and live and die and live and die in an area. Well, over millions of years, as they pile up, they then can become hydrocarbons. And earlier I was explaining that hydrocarbons are nothing more than a molecule like methane, which is CH4, which is 4 hydrogens surrounding a carbon. It's called a hydrocarbon because it has hydrogen, it has carbon. And what we do is we can burn it, gives off light, it gives off heat. Natural gas. People produce methane, 135 5-gallon jugs of methane a year. Breaking down, decomposing anything will produce that. That is an organic molecule. So, again, what are we doing? We're getting energy from the sun. The sun is getting energy to plants. We're getting the energy from the plants and the animals that ate the plants. Again, the carbons and the hydrogens. Coal is organic sedimentary rock. We talked about this in rocks, and when we talked about that, the fact that it's organisms that have piled up over a period of time in a swampy area, whether it be sphagnum moss or reeds and woody plants. We have this decomposition as it's buried over a period of time. I've got a video clip that shows like a million years of that happening. Let me show you what that looks like. Alright. So, this is the formation of coal. 1 million years.
Geologic, a million years. Geologic units are formed during millions of years. An example of this is a coal bed, which starts with vegetation.
Now this would be a swampy area.
The swamp is thriving along a coastline, accumulating thick layers of plant material. As the basin subsides, organic material piles up in the swamp, and sand is deposited near the shoreline. Over time, as sea level rises, sand settles out and the swamp is covered by a beach. If sea level rises high enough, what was once a swamp is now under hundreds of meters of water and mud. When the sea retreats, sediment that was deposited is left behind, and a new swamp forms. Hundreds of meters below the surface, pressure and heat combine to alter the buried plant material into coal, while the surrounding mud and sand are changed into shales and sandstones.
That would be like a seam of coal right there. And so basically this material over millions of years produces coals. Now, how does it work? Carbonization of the material. Basically, as it's buried, it's pressure, it's time, it's temperature, and what are we producing? We're producing methane gas, which the bacteria from the swamp does that, and so it's partially broken down, but partially it's not. And so what's left is the carbon.
Hi, Mark. I love you, Mark.
Now, what I'm doing is I'm grabbing some coal here to show everybody, and you can't see it at home, but this is the basic setup. So we have a swamp. Why does Illinois have a lot of coal? Because we used to be on the edge of the ocean when, this is way back when, this was a swampy area, right? And so back and forth, the ocean came and went and whatnot. But we had this swamp. It then gets covered over, compacted. As it does, that vegetation then is compacted again, million years, 10 million years, 100 million years. Pretty soon we get coal. And that's basically it. This is a coal mine. I had pictures of the coal mine down in Springfield, which is the Viper coal mine, which is there. When you're driving down I-55 going towards Springfield, on the east side of the road, there's 2 coal mines there, and you can get a sense of what they look like. Now those are underground mines. So what's it start with? Well, we've basically got 4 types, and it's really the building blocks, right? So type number 1, peat, sphagnum moss, and basically what happens is it's this mossy, planty, woody material that is the start. Now, granted, when they first take this out, and people use this in like Ireland and England and places like that, they use this as a fuel source. It's like burning wood. So they're taking the dried out dead moss, putting it into the fireplace and heating their house with it. We see the same thing with other things such as cow poop. There's countries that collect cow patties and they put it in the fireplace and they burn it. Right? I mean, that's just what people do. So if you take this peat and you basically compact it for several tens of thousands of years, 50,000, 60,000 years, eventually it'll turn into lignite. And this is the worst form of coal. It's very poor, not a lot of energy. They don't get a lot for it. People do not seek this out very readily. But then the next stage, which again, I'm just guessing at these ages, 100,000 years, somewhere in there. I'm sorry, 100 million years, somewhere in there. Again, we're getting to a much more compacted, much more dense piece of coal, but it's still what they call soft coal. And it's because it breaks apart in your hands and stuff like this. This is bituminous, okay? We have a lot of bituminous coal here. This coal that I have here that I showed around the other day is bituminous coal. This is just basic coal that you'd find, that I found over in Pekin. And again, the coal that they got out of the mine here in town, which is over at the pond at Peanut Hill, basically that was bituminous coal. It wasn't really good coal. It was okay coal, right? But when you get to anthracite, anthracite basically is coal. Again, what's coal? Organic sedimentary rock, right? But anthracite is metamorphosed, some say, right? So basically, regional metamorphism or heat, right? Or contact metamorphism, heat and magma, probably not contact, but basically extreme pressure basically causes this to be really hard. And that's what this, and if you look, that's what this type of coal is. And again, very shiny because it's been compacted more. You can see it's much more highly desirable, and it gives off more energy. It gives off more. So this would give some energy. A, B gives a little bit more. C gives off quite a bit, and then D, it's the full load, right? It's giving off a lot of energy. But here's the deal. Again, what's it doing? When we burn it, it releases carbon in the atmosphere, right? So it's a big deal. This image right here is basically some plates that I have put together that talks about the coal. And you can see this is peat. The next one would be lignite. Sometimes they call lignite brown coal. Again, all it is peat that has been compressed a little bit longer. Bituminous, what we have around here quite a bit. And then anthracite, basically, again, some people consider this metamorphosed or a type of metamorphic rock. It's just a lot of pressure. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Actually, I want to show you a way that they mine for coal that's pretty interesting, a little bit different. See if you can figure out who it is that's talking in the video.
It's the environmental rate. That's all you can call it. They've just destroyed our way of life completely. Everything that the mountains meant to us has been destroyed. Since this land got disturbed by the coal and timber companies, we don't have hardly anything left.
Just southwest of our nation's capital, one of the greatest human rights and environmental tragedies in American history is taking place at this very moment. Mountaintop removal is a form of coal mining that's designed from the start to take the coal miner out of coal mining. The companies use explosives to blow up the tops of the mountains, and they dump the rock into the valleys, totally burying the streams. What's left behind is a moonscape.
By the way, the guy is in a movie you've seen called...
When you're blowing up, literally blowing off the top of a mountain in order to get at the coal, and all of the debris and everything else, the whole top of the mountain goes down in the valley, dams up rivers, affects communities. I mean, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's so deeply wrong that we have to do something about it.
When they level the mountains, they have to have something to do with everything other than the coal. The leftover debris is put into the headwaters of the hollow, and it changed the velocity and the volume of water that comes through my property here. And we've always had a small stream run through here. It's named Big Branch Creek. It's always been a little tiny stream though, and through the manipulations of the headwaters of the stream, I've been flooded now 7 times. In 2001, the bridge washed out, and we repaired it, and then it washed out again. So I lost 2 bridges, and at this point we have no access.
An activist for Mountaintop Removal.
My son called and he said, "Dad," he said, "if you're getting home, you better come on." He said, "It's starting to flood up here." So we got down to the mouth of the hollow, and this 15-year-old boy met us, and he said, "You can't get up a holler." He said, "It's flooded." In a matter of an hour, this 15-year-old boy was drowned. And with him, his neighbor, a 35-year-old lady. They stepped across a little ditch going into their yard that normally was 6 or 8 inches deep, and they were swept away. We spent the night together, all of us huddled around in this house, and it was a night of unbelievable sorrow.
This isn't just a regional issue, because people from all across America use electricity that's at least partly generated by mountaintop removal coal. But it's a small amount that could easily come from cleaner sources of energy.
Instead of going under the mountain and getting the coal, they just take the mountain off of the coal, and they scoop out all that coal in that seam, and they go on down to the next seam and push all the overburden over the mountains into the valleys, and they get that seam. And as I said, there's 8 or 9 seams here they got, and each time it's more dirt and rock come down over the valleys. They say it's more economical. They take a handful of men with equipment and accomplish in a matter of months what an underground mine would take years with a lot of men to do.
So I'll just go ahead and stop there. Basically, it's a way of removing a lot of material quickly, but it has a great environmental impact. So again, we'll stop here and pick up on the next one. You guys have done great, and thanks for listening.